Greetings, everybody. Today is July 1st. Happy Canada Day, everyone. And while we celebrate Canada Day, please do not forget the bodies that were found, 251 children found graves with no names. Let's pray for them. Let's pray for their soul. Let's pray for their families and for everyone who lost their lives for absolutely no reason. And also celebrate those who fought for this country. Happy Canada Day. And welcome to the Grace, Peace, and Balance radio show or podcast by Gabi Abdelgadir. This is episode 81, and today I have an incredible guest who is a two-time international bestseller, and he is huge into personal growth. His name is Andy, and I will be reading his bio for you. And I will also be posting his bio and his social media links if you want to get in touch with him on Podbean, and I will also be posting it on YouTube. Please do get in touch with him. He's an incredible human. Thank you. So Andy Alberlan, he lives on his 15-acre country home outside Rochester, New York. A labor of love for the past 7 years. The serenity and quiet helps fuel the creative juices of everything he says. Even as a child, Andy had an interest in writing and creating stories. Now a two-time international bestseller, a licensed home inspector, as well as a skilled and experienced craftsman, he actively pursues many interests, including woodworking, music, art, and study of the mind. His passion for personal development and personal growth, and a great joy in connecting with people while providing clarity and guidance wherever possible are at the core of his message, which is life is a wondrous gift and our experiences hold the key to understanding who we are and why we are here in this time and place, is what he says. He's sending out blessings and kindness and success in life to all of you who are watching this, who are listening to this. Andy, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you, Gabby. I'm really happy to be here.
Good. So, number one, congratulations on second time becoming an international bestseller. Can you tell us about those two books that you became an international bestseller? Which one was the first one? Talk about it.
Sure. So the first book, which came out last year in 2020, was 30+1 resiliency stories, and it was a project that I'll say that I manifested. I wanted to be a writer, and I wanted to write and to experience being a published writer, and I knew that I knew that doing it alone was not. It wasn't in the cards, and this opportunity came along. A really fantastic guy, Michael Ballard. He was the mastermind of that compilation book, and he drew to himself a wonderful team of people that helped him to put that together. And I happened to be one of those people that was able to contribute. And it was really it was a very eye-opening and enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
And that one, it was and still is a very successful book. And that took myself and 30 other people to international bestseller status, which was really exciting.
Yeah.
And at that time, I stated that it was not a one and done for me. Even though that I had achieved a goal that I had set out in January of 2019, when I joined the Proctor Coaching program, they ask you to set a big goal for yourself. Not something that you think you could get, like a new car or something, but something that you've never achieved and that seems beyond your reach. And mine was to become a published author. And then they start to teach you about creating a mindset where you become the person that is able to achieve that lofty goal.
Yeah.
And the goal as so many of us in personal development know or are learning, the goal is just the product of who you become. So the value is in the steps that you take and who you become to reach that goal. So when I reached my goal, I said, well, I'm not done. This is just a stepping stone. And almost immediately I was presented another opportunity, and that was to participate in Landed for Success, which is the book that just came out this year, the spring of this year.
Yeah, and what was the title of it? The Untold Stories, right?
It's Untold Stories, that's correct. Landed for Success, Untold Stories. And it was a little smaller group of writers, but they had a really incredible network behind them.
Yeah.
And that one also became an international bestseller.
Yes.
And so those two opportunities, I really felt are what is driving me forward as I continue to change and shift my life in the direction that I really feel purpose driven to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's to continue writing and inspiring others to become the best version of themselves that they're able.
Yeah, absolutely. Incredible, incredible. By the way, I did the Bob Proctor Coaching program. I don't know now, but it used to be a 13-month program.
Yeah,
It is a 13-month program back in 2010. And Bob Proctor wrote the foreword for my very bestseller book, which is my story, The Grace, Peace, and Balance, Surviving and Thriving Against All Odds. He wrote the foreword for me. So yeah, so that is an incredible program. Did they put you into a mastermind groups as well? Do you have a mastermind?
Well, yes, they encourage you to do that. And I actually found a whole community, a mastermind community, and that opened a door to where I was masterminding with people from all over the world.
Yeah.
At all times of day. It was really an incredible experience. So that there's so many doors open through that program, and it really changed and shifted my life from where I had been, say, December 2018 to January 2019. It made a huge difference. If you had known me back then or met me back then, I would be a very different person. And that's which I'm very happy and grateful to be able to say that.
Yeah, good job. So yeah, it is the thing that we always say is surround yourself with people who uplift you, right? Like we always
Absolutely.
have to and then one of the things that I learned from Bob Proctor is to get rid of people who drain your energy, to get rid of people who don't appreciate you or who are negative. Anytime there are people you feel negative energy around them, even if they don't open their mouth, you just have to wish them well and let them go. So that's what I did. So that's what I did. It's very healing when you let go of people who don't serve you or who are negative or who drain your energy. It doesn't matter whether they're family or friends or acquaintances or co-workers, it does not matter. Okay, I want to know a little bit about you growing up. What were you like? Tell me about you growing up.
Oh, you want to? Are we supposed to paint me in a good light here?
Yeah, but we all grew up and we had our.
Well, I like to kid a little bit. You know, I was an energetic child. I didn't really appreciate authority telling me what to do. I was a very creative kid, and quirky and strange. And I think that when being a kid like that, I always kind of I never really felt like I fit in. And I still don't feel like I fit in even as an adult, but I appreciate being that type of child, especially nowadays when, I don't know, kids, they're really into, you know, they're always got a screen in front of them. And of course, I grew up in the 1980s, and really television even was not something that was on my radar. Maybe for a couple hours on Saturday morning watching cartoons, and then I was a go outside kind of kid. I grew up my first 9 years in Rochester, New York. I grew up in the city, and at that time, I don't remember a whole lot about it, but my parents decided to make a move to move out to the country, to move out to a more rural area, and they bought a 100-acre farm with barns and a big house, and it was a huge culture shock.
Yeah, for you.
For me, going from inner city where there was a lot of mixed races and everything was very tight and small, to this place that was just, there wasn't a mixture of any kind of races or anything, and it was just a rural kind of small town America community with nothing but space. You know, all of a sudden all there was trees and cows and not many people. But I felt like that's when my life started. You know, and I was the kind of kid that was into all kinds of things. I used to actually, as weird as it sounds, I used to go and collect roadkill, and I had an area in the woods where I would let them decompose, and I would take their skulls and stuff, and I would clean them up because I was interested in the biology and the science of them, and I would collect nests and feathers and different natural, anything that had to do with nature. And I actually had a little museum in one of the rooms in our house, my natural history museum. And this is at 10 years old, I could go through and I could explain to you anything you wanted to know about these items that I had collected. And so when I say I was kind of a strange child, that's kind of like just to show you, you know. And I was also the kind of kid that if I wanted to build something or make something, I would find a way to I would go and scavenge wood until I had enough and build forts and cabins and things of that nature. And really as an adult, I just carried a lot of those types of things over to where if I really want to do something, I will find a way. And that has brought us to this conversation today.
Yeah.
Where I really want to be an author, and I want to inspire other people with my experiences to become the best version of themselves by clearing out those limiting beliefs, clearing out that clutter in their mind so that they can get to what's really important. Because so often we're just dealing with all these distractions and things that we give our energy to, but they're not really serving us. And so it's important to kind of move all that stuff aside, let it fall away so you can focus on those things that are really important to you. And that's what brings purpose to our lives.
Absolutely. So while we're talking today about mind declutter, when was the first time that you realized that you need to change your mindset, or what inspired you? Was it a book, or was it something you watched or somebody you followed? How did it start?
Well, if we want to talk about one of the very first times that I had a shift, that we're going back over 20 years.
Okay.
And this is, I was in my young 20s, 21, 22, right in there. And my mother, she got me a book for Christmas.
Okay.
And it was called Stone Soup for the World, and it was a Jack Canfield book, very similar to the Chicken Soup for the Soul type books, where it's compilations of people's stories and things. And the premise of Stone Soup for the World was that a man comes to a village and he brings with him a kettle.
Okay.
And he's looking for food, and every cottage that he goes to, they say, we don't have any food, we don't have anything for you. So he goes to the center of town, and he fills the kettle with water, and he puts a fire underneath it, and he takes a stone that he has with him, and he sets it in the bottom of the kettle, and every person that comes by and asks what he's doing says, I'm making stone soup, do you have anything to offer? And so somebody brings a potato. Another person, oh, I have an onion. Somebody else says, I have a carrot. And on they go.
Oh, I'm
And
about to get emotional there. I have never read that book. Okay.
Each of the villagers, this is just the premise of the book.
Yeah.
Each of the villagers, they put in what little bit they have to offer. And at the end, the man reaches down with his ladle and he scoops out the stone and sets it aside. And then the entire village has a feast from this kettle of stone soup, because each one of them contributed where they felt they had nothing to contribute, and it enhanced, and it the greater good is what benefited from that. Okay.
Yeah.
So I read that book, and I have never reread that book, but I read that book when I was 21, 22 years old. And that story really touched me. And when I read through the stories in that book that were just like we're talking about today, they were personal stories from everyday people, stories of struggle and hardship and upliftment. It really shifted something inside of me. And from that day forward, in some way, shape, or form, I have attempted to uplift every life that I've come in contact with to whatever ability I had at that time. And as I've grown older now, over this 20 some odd years, and the experiences that I have experienced that at one time I felt had no value to anyone, what I'm learning now is that by sharing those, that is what brings people together. That's what connects people, and that is what inspires other people to share their story and to take that inspiration and move forward in their lives with it.
Exactly. And the thing is, the thing that I found is that people are ashamed. A lot of people, they don't want to talk about their past, which is not fair. I think a story, a real life story, you have no idea how many other people's lives you could touch. Oh my God, he went through this, she went through this, and then and look at them now. And I can do that. There is no shame. We all have gone through struggles. We all have done things in our life. And now what has it become? It has become an experience we grew up from, and we teach and we help other people. Absolutely beautiful. And when did you go back to the city? When did you leave the farm? That's an interesting one to me.
I never. I've never moved.
There? You're still living
Well,
there?
no, not that part. No, I have my own place, but I'm a country boy. When I go to the city to do inspections or something, which is about 45 minutes away, I actually live in between two cities. I live in between Rochester, New York, and Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
I'm not very comfortable there. I go do what I need to do, and I get out of there, and I come back to the wide open spaces. And I love my freedom. As you stated in the bio there, I have a 15-acre property that when I purchased it now 8 years ago, it had been abandoned for 2 years and neglected for 40. So the people that bought it, they never did anything to it. They allowed the brush to grow up. It used to be all pastures. And my family and I, we had to live in the barn for a month while I made the house livable enough for us to come in, which can sound crazy to a lot of people, and it is in a lot of ways, but that is the level of desire that I possess. That is the level of vision that I cultivate, and that I bring to the table in all aspects of life. And this is a physical manifestation of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm learning, and trust me, the Bob Proctor coaching program really jump-started what I was doing and brought to my awareness, hey, you're already doing this, do it better. To use that vision that I used here. I mean, this room that I'm sitting in, this is my beautiful office. It used to be an ugly, nasty looking room with boxes stacked up in the back. And I just said one day, no more. I can't do this anymore. This room must be a reflection of me. And if you look behind me with this mural and the woodwork, everything in here is a reflection of me. And everything has energy that I have instilled in it for a purpose.
You built
and
that,
I just,
Andy?
What's that?
Did you build that room, that office?
Yes.
Oh, wow. What is the one
So
behind you, the trees? Is that like an art or is it a window?
this is a mural behind me here.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But there's real trees in here.
Okay.
Every piece of artwork in here is important. That I established that energy and that this is my place of creativity in the business world. As I digress, so that is the stuff that is important to me, and I make every attempt to bring to the table in everything that I do.
Yeah.
So I'm a country boy, and I like to have bonfires and hang out in the wilderness, so to speak, the wilderness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this property I'm developing into just a beautiful place where it has a very relaxed feeling. You're integrated with nature. We have lots of rabbits and deer and birds. And even though the brush gets cleared and the ground gets dug up to make things a certain way, I always make sure that anything that comes or goes from this property does so with relative freedom.
Yeah.
And I really feel that's important.
Yeah.
An important aspect for all of us to consider, especially in our own lives, because so often we feel locked down, or we feel like we don't have a choice, or we're not free. And the truth is that we are all those things, and we just have to make that decision and then follow through with it. One moment, Abby.
Yeah.
Okay. One moment.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I have to give love to my fiance Joni as she heads out to work for the day.
Aww.
So
say hello to her. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Thank
you. Amazing. So that is that. So the Bob Proctor came. So besides the book that you just mentioned, which I really now I have to find it and I have to go grab it, because I have read a lot of Jack Canfield books, but not that one. What other books inspired you? Just mention 3 books that actually inspired you to become who you are right now. In addition to that, in addition to the Bob Proctor coaching, 3 books that really changed you as a person, that helped you grow.
Well, one of the books that really gave me a lot of information that I know is the core of Bob Proctor's message is Think and Grow Rich. And so many people, if you ask them that question, that will be their answer. And it's almost cliche, because that is the book that all other books of personal development, anything stems from.
Yes.
So we have to give props to that book.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost impossible not to. So from there, I would say, Rich Dad, Poor Dad was one that really gave me a lot to think about, and about the way that I was raised, and about the way that that I thought about myself, that I thought about life. That one, and I've had to come back to it several times and be like, was it really that good? And then I would reread it. And of course, that's by Robert Kiyosaki, who he's done
I
quite a
have
few
this book.
other books, but that in its day, that was such an amazing book that just coming from a place that nobody else had ever said, hey, consider this. That was a really important one.
Yeah.
And I want to say that, and this was again on a Bob Proctor prompting, not necessarily that he said you should go read this book, but that he was referencing it so many times that I took it upon myself to say, I gotta, what is this? Why does he keep referencing this book? And that would be Psycho-Cybernetics.
Oh my God, yes. That one I had to read it several times. I read Robert Kiyosaki's Before Think and Grow Rich, but that one, it was like a little complicated for me at the beginning, so I had to reread it. You looking for it?
Yeah, here I was having a little brain fart about who the author was. Maxwell Maltz.
Maxwell Maltz, yeah.
Yeah, so
Psycho-Cybernetics,
there it is. It's right on my shelf of wisdom over there, and it's a somewhat of a technically challenging book because he was, he had such a weird background in that he was a psychologist and a plastic surgeon, and he's writing this book about the technical aspects of the mind and behavior and personality, and I was like, what a weird connection to make, but such important and dynamic ideas that he put in there. And he does have memorable ways of imprinting them on your mind.
Yes.
So that was definitely one that I've had to think a lot about and go back every once in a while and be like, what was he talking about there? So those would be three that just kind of come to mind. And there's so many others, and I have my shelf of yet to read here that I always build when I find something that I really like, and then I have my shelf over here of I've already read them, but they're always up for grabs.
Oh yeah.
Another one, I know you wanted three, but another one that was important to me, and not necessarily from a personal development aspect, was the Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. And that one really resonated with me because oftentimes in our personal development, we begin to understand the spiritual aspect of ourselves, and we get away from that human programmed aspect, right?
Yeah.
And that is really what his book is about, and it's done in a novel fashion. So he's telling this story that's a little far-fetched, but his lessons in there about how to treat yourself, how to be to yourself, and then how to treat those people around you so that they're able to gain benefit from that. That one really gave me a lot of insight into how to conduct myself to myself, and then to spread that to my outer world. So that one was really an influential book for me.
Yeah, excellent. Those are really great books. I haven't read the last one you just mentioned, but I'm also very much into spiritual books by Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Love Wayne Dyer.
Yeah, me too. Like totally. I have watched his latest movie, and I watch all his videos, and I have CDs those days. They used to be CDs, so I purchased his CDs and his DVDs, which I don't use now because everything is available on audio and on YouTube right now for free, whereas I used to spend a lot of money. Then Abraham Hicks is another one. Esther and Jerry Hicks, Ask and It Is Given.
I'm reading it right now.
Are you serious right now?
I really truly am. Yep.
Yeah, isn't that an incredible book? Ask and It Is Given. Oh my goodness. Like my mastermind group and we read it because we agree in 1 month we read one book, and then in one of our weekly calls we discuss it. So one of them said, I think we should go back to Esther and Jerry Hicks, Ask and It's Given. We should go back, because there are books that are worth repeating. Think and Grow Rich is one of them. Robert Kiyosaki's The Four Quadrants is one of them. Rich Dad Poor Dad is one of them. Power Intention is one of them. My goodness gracious, I have like a ton of books that I could mention, but all those books, and The Success Principles by Jack Canfield is one of them. A lot of his books are by well, one of them. What else was I going to mention, Gabby? Did you read Bob Proctor's book, You Were Born Rich?
Yes, well, it comes with that program.
With the package, okay.
You know, they don't sell that book anymore. They just give it away.
Yeah,
and so, each of us, we received it. So I did read through it. And, you know, he wrote it a long time ago.
Yeah.
And all of those things that he wrote at that time, I think what's so powerful, same with Think and Grow Rich, what's so powerful is that decades can go by and it still has relevance.
Absolutely.
You know, so many things become irrelevant as time wears on.
Yeah.
And some of these principles, they actually become more relevant as time wears on.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are books that are worth rereading, and Robin Sharma is somebody, I love his books, and there are a ton. Like, I have been an avid reader. Like, I can remember when I was like 3, I used to hold books and just look at pictures. So by the time I was 4, my brother had taught me how to read all the alphabets before even I went to kindergarten. So I've been a book addict, and I was not allowed to read romantic stories when I was like until the age of 14. But I used to go at night in bed, I hide my book, my friends from school give me, and then I would put the light off, and I would put the keyhole to my bedroom, I would cover it with a shirt or something, and then on the ground, so the light doesn't, I would put towel so nobody can see the light from outside. I read 200 books. I told my brother and my mom, like later on in life, that I read 200 books of romance and all those books, although I was not allowed to. So that's determination. So they said, you did? With all those restrictions? And when did you do that? And I told them, they were laughing. So I used to read but for the last 20 something years, I just focused on personal growth. And then for the last 7 years, I am now more into spirituality as well, right? Like, as I have done a lot of personal growth. So now spirituality is the thing, because I find it gives me peace, reading all the spiritual books. So so reading has been my thing. So I can, my goodness, the bookshelves. I just gave about 450 books. I decided to get rid of the fiction to Salvation Army, because they can sell them, right? Like, I had to go 3 times because they were so heavy. I had to drive 3 times to drop them. And I left the only fiction book that I read up until now and will always do is the lawyer, what's his name? Oh my God, they call him my boyfriend at work. They call him, oh, your boyfriend has a new book. Oh God. I'll come back to it. But
all right. Well, so while you're thinking of who that is,
Gabby,
in what I know about you and reading the book on discrimination, which I messaged you and told you how touched I was by that book.
Yes, thank you.
Even though I don't know if I have really the place to comment on that, other than it was very eye-opening to me. I feel like the first mistake that you could make with Gabby is to tell her that she can't do something.
Oh, thank you so much.
That is pretty much a guarantee that she is going to do it. And I see a lot of that in you, and I think that that's an amazing trait to have.
Thank you.
Speaking about fiction books,
John Grisham, that is his name.
Oh yes, John Grisham.
He was a lawyer. I think he gave up his law practice and became writing, but his books are all about crime, and there isn't one book that I would miss. And I remember there was I used to work with a lawyer. She was a woman. So if I didn't see it, if she sees it first, she would buy it and put it on my desk for me. And one night there was one book that I didn't like the ending of the story. I finished it like about close to 3 o'clock in the morning because it was so hot, the story. You know how you're dying to know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So I was so mad, and I sent her an email and I said, Sandra, I am so upset the way John Grisham ended this story. I have to find him and I have to email him. It was like close to 3 o'clock in the morning. She should be sleeping and dreaming, right? She immediately replies back. She goes, Gabi, comma, you are crazy, comma, go to sleep in block line, capital letters, go to sleep with exclamation mark. Yeah, so that is how much I love his books. That is the only fiction that I will always be reading. But other than that, anything new, spiritual, personal growth, I will read. Yeah, yeah. And then talking about, yeah, I've always been, I will show you kind of. My brother used to call me stupid growing up because he could read a 600-page like in 2-3 hours and throw it into my face, and it would take me a week to finish it because there is school. Then it would take me a week to finish a 600-page book. And he would tell me, oh yeah, stupid people like you would take them forever to read this. This is only for stupid people like you. And he would tell my mom like, oh, she's a tomboy. She's going to amount to nothing. And I can't say it out loud because the way we grew up is you don't talk back in front of your parents and things like that. But in my mind, I will show you. I will show you. I will show you. I always was that person who said, I will show you, but I'm also quiet. Like I don't like confrontation. I don't like fighting. So when I go quiet, that's when you have to worry about me. If I go completely quiet, you know, I am really not happy right now and something is about to happen. But I am also like, I have a habit of shutting people out, which is not nice. You have to let them know why you don't want them in your life sometimes, but I can't. I just completely shut down a person, which I have done it even people in our circle, if you ask me. Because if people who are lacking integrity, people who are lacking honesty, people who are lacking kindness and compassion, they don't fit with me. You know what I mean? They don't fit with me. But thank goodness I am surrounded by people that would kick butt anytime for anybody good. You know who they are. Like we have the Kellys, the Tommys, the Samanthas, the Patricias, a lot of them. Like they are like amazing group. And if I need anything on the spot, they will be there for me. So those are the kind of people you need to surround yourself with, and to let go of people who don't serve you in any way. Yeah, so I was that. And I also love like decluttering. Yeah, so the way I teach it also, when you mention mind, you are so right, because it starts at home and then your office, your space, because everything you carry carries an energy. And then you have, if you do that and you don't declutter your mind, then still nothing changes. If you don't declutter your relationships, still nothing changes. And you have to declutter your time for you to be productive and focused. So yeah, I like how you're talking about decluttering the mind. So when did you start, just before we finish up, when did you start decluttering your mind? Oh, that book, the first book that you read, is that when it happened?
Well, I don't know. There was a lot of clutter between that book and today. The point that I would like to make is, with so many things, especially with the internet and how much information comes at us all the time, that it kind of doesn't matter when I started or where I've gotten to today or where I'll get to tomorrow. What matters is that we understand, and that the people that are watching this understand that Gabby is not perfect, that I'm not perfect, and that they're not perfect, and that every single one of us is in a practice of lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And yes, I have cleared clutter away. I cleared it away 2 years ago. I cleared it away last week. I'm going to clear some away today, and there's still going to be more to clear tomorrow.
Yes.
So to me, that's what's most important is the awareness that we have something that we need to work on and that that's okay. And that if we are making progress, no matter how small, and the progress is only measured by us personally,
Yeah.
not by somebody else and what it seems like they're doing or what you think so-and-so thinks you should be doing, that stuff doesn't matter. What
No.
matters is that each of us is aware that we're on our own journey, at our own time, our own pace, and our own place,
Absolutely.
and that we can, if we're moving forward with integrity to ourselves and those around us, that's all that we need. That's all there is to it. And the more that we do that, the more we will attract other like-minded people together, which
Absolutely.
is perfectly proven by this very moment of you and I having this conversation,
Thank you.
brought together by people that have integrity, that are like-minded. And it wasn't that you and I said, hey, let's get together. It was that community of people that we surround ourselves with, which we are so fortunate and blessed to be surrounded by those people. They said, hey, let's put these two together and see what that conversation looks like.
Yeah.
So I am so happy and grateful that they did. And I've loved having this conversation with you today.
Thank
and
you.
honestly,
Me too.
this could go on
forever.
And I would be very happy with that. So
yeah, I know I'm going to have you back in 3 weeks from now. You know that, right? Yeah. So, but for now, there are two questions I ask everybody I interview, and then I'm gonna have you give your last advice to listeners. So the two things. The first thing is, if you had to visit 3 countries before you die, which countries would they be?
I suppose it would be, since it's Canada Day, it might be a little wrong for me not to say Canada first, right?
Yeah, you haven't been before? No? Yeah.
I would love to visit Canada in all of its splendor. Australia is somewhere that I've always wanted to go ever since I was a little kid.
Okay,
and
cool.
I do have an affinity for Ireland for some reason. I know it's a small country, and I would just love to go and experience it.
Okay, so Ireland, Australia, and Canada, beautiful. The Irish people, the Australians are really nice people, so are Canadians. And the Irish people, I haven't been to Ireland, but the people are so nice, and I have worked with them in the Middle East. Oh my, they love beer like there is no tomorrow. They drink beer like there is no, we used to get together like every weekend. The cases of beer, they drink it like it was like just water. They drink that, and they love life. They were so nice. And I also had a few from New Zealand. It used to be such a great time when I was in the Middle East working for an oil company. So they are lovely people. So it's worth your visit. My second question would be, what is one dream you would love to accomplish before you die?
One dream that I would love to accomplish before I die.
Yeah.
I guess the simplest answer to that is the one that I am living right now. And that is sharing my stories and my experiences with the world. And my personal mission is to inspire 1 million people to find their purpose and to start living the life of their dreams. And in an interview with Gordon So, who is one of the founding authors of Landed for Success, Untold Stories, when he posed that question, and I told him, he said, well, you may have already almost reached 1 million people. And I said, then if that's the case, Gordon, I'll just tack another 0 onto it.
Yeah, good job. Yeah, good job. Yeah, so, okay, that is absolutely beautiful. And I know you're going to do it. In particular, Andy, like the young generation, the male generation need people like you big time. I see a lot of youngsters lost completely lost. So they need you. They need people like you. They wouldn't listen to me. I'm a woman. Like I would do a better job with youngsters, with mompreneurs and things like that. Like my son is like, I have only one son, one boy, right? I talk with his friends and very rare, but you know them, these young kids, they don't want like their mom. Yeah, they need people like you because they would listen to you, because you're not like an 80-year-old or 70-year-old that they say, oh, he's an old guy, what does he know? Because you're younger, they would listen to you. So just keep doing what you're doing. And what is next for you, by the way? What is next for you? Is it like another book or anything you're
Well,
working? Yeah.
there is something coming down the pike very soon,
Okay.
and I don't want to let the cat out of the bag just
Okay.
yet.
Okay.
But perhaps in our conversation 3 weeks from now,
Uh-huh.
maybe there will be a little more insight on that. So if anyone is interested, at all in finding out what that is, all they have to do is enjoy their holiday weekend coming up,
Yeah.
and then they can just wait with bated breath to see what the next amazing piece of this journey is going to be. And let me just tell you, it is going to be fantastic. It will knock your socks off.
Oh my
And
goodness.
if anyone is just dying for more, this Saturday I'm actually going to put on a small Facebook Live, where I talk about my journey of learning to play the guitar over the past 2 years,
Oh my
starting at
goodness.
42 years old. And I'm going to play a few songs for you and talk about some of the stuff that occurred to bring that about, and some of the challenges in my mind that I had to overcome, because there was a lifetime of clutter in there that was telling me that I couldn't do it. And a lot like you, Gabby, that's the worst thing that you can tell me, is that I can't do something,
Yeah.
because I am going to damn sure find a way to do it.
There you
So
go. There you go. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, I'm so can't wait, whatever it is that you're working on, whatever it is that's coming. I am so looking forward to it. People, follow him. You will see his Instagram account, Facebook link, Instagram link, everything. I will be posting it. Follow this man. He is incredible. Just follow him and, friend him on Facebook and watch out for him. That is what I can advise. So one last sentence advice for listeners before we call it a day.
one last piece of advice, one of my core lessons that I've personally learned and I share everywhere I go, is for us to view each experiences of our life as a blessing and or a lesson, and they're often both. And that when we do that, we can see that every experience that comes to us is a learning tool for our own personal growth, so that we can be the person today that we have become, so we can be a person that the world needs us to be tomorrow.
Excellent advice. Oh my goodness, it's been such a pleasure having you on my show, and I can't wait to have you again. And that was such an inspiring time. Normally I would like do only 20 minutes. I think we went way over time, which is, I could talk to you for 2 hours, Andy, you know that. So thank you for being on my show, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Can't wait to see what it is. And so everybody, this is it for today. Watch out for Andy Alberlan. You will see all his bio and his social media links. Get in touch with him, follow him. He's incredible. And until the next episode, I wish you grace, peace, balance, and harmony. Blessings.
Thank you.